Hi, and welcome back to video 3 about DCF income payments. For a quick recap, video 1 I went over just what these payments are. They're period certain guaranteed payments from top-rated insurance companies that come from structured settlement annuities. These payments are sold in a secondary market transaction for a discounted lump sum. My company buys the right to receive these payments from these existing in-force annuities, and I sell these payments through a nationwide network of financial professionals and advisors just like you. In video 2, I went over the various different ways these payment streams are better for your customers. They offer a higher yield than comparable offerings like new annuities, MYGAs, SPIAs. They offer a better yield than CDs, and they offer a lower risk to principal and from sequence of return risk and from market volatility than managed portfolios. You'll also eliminate the withdrawal rate risk that you see in a lot of managed portfolios. That was in video 2. So now in number 3 here, I'm going to talk about how I have used these payment streams in a wide range of planning scenarios with both individual customers and with advisors around the country offering to their clients. We're going to look at various situations and at customer case studies to see if they work for any planning situations that you're currently involved in or for the kind of customers that you usually work with. These payment streams are great for doing exactly what you set out for them to do for your clients. So instead of hoping for an outcome, you can guarantee it for your clients. Let's jump in and take a look at how this works. All right, welcome back. This is the third video in our little series on these wholesale priced discounted cash flow payment streams that some folks call secondary market annuities. We call them DCF income payments or wholesale income payments. But quick recap, these are period certain guaranteed payments, top-rated insurance carriers. They come from structured settlement annuities that original payees sell at a discount. Payees want cash now instead of payments in the future, and we buy those future payments and give them cash now. This means that you're able to buy a higher yield, lower priced asset, and at the end of the day, these have a higher yield than bonds with no price volatility, higher yield than new annuities and CDs, lower price, lower risk of sequence of returns or volatility, and a lower risk of overspending or withdrawal rate risk in managed portfolios. This third video, we're going to look at some planning scenarios. These are actual real-life case studies. Names of the innocent have been protected, so you'll just see some initials. My customers and advisors, customers, and portfolios that we built out over the years. These are just real people, normal people who use these payments in their financial situation, and hopefully it can work for you to see if that works in your situation. It'll help you determine too if the specific outcomes that we can produce is something you need, because after all, if you don't need it, don't buy it. That's one of the main issues I touched on in another video, that what I take issue with other sorts of annuities. Oftentimes these other annuities are sold and not bought. And by that I mean sometimes there's fear tactics or pressure to buy something that you might have some buyer's remorse on later if it doesn't do what you think it's going to do or you don't understand it. I see that a lot with people who have complicated annuities with income riders. They don't understand what they bought, and frankly the advisors don't really understand what they're selling either. I have found that once people understand the DCF product, these wholesale income contracts, they really sell themselves. Once you see the outcome that you can accomplish using these payment streams, you can see it in your own situation, and typically people keep buying these things over and over again. You know, they may come in with a need for something safe for a single asset or a single outcome, and then pretty soon people start layering in. I was looking at my sales history before this video. I have one client who has 44 different positions with us, 44 different cases. None of them are over $50,000 in size, but they create this incredible ladder of guaranteed income that he's leaving to his wife and his kids and grandkids. And he just keeps buying. He has 2 more in closing process right now. And it's just wonderfully gratifying to have customers that keep coming back over and over again. These are customers that come through the financial advisors that we sell through, as well as folks who've worked with me going on 13, 14 years now. So these payment streams achieve income now, income later, and options with lump sums. You've seen this slide before. I won't belabor the point, but it helps to give you a visual on the kinds of things you can do with supplemental income, retirement income, or lumpy expenses that are coming around in the future. Our payment streams are really useful for solving those sorts of problems. The most common use of our payment streams, though, is for retirement income. Now, retirement income can be income now or income later, but it's just generally income that you need to be able to rely on. And the biggest, hardest question in retirement income planning in financial advisors' world is how much income do you need and how long do you need it to last? We all want to bounce our last check, but we really don't know when that will be. Plus, the composition of our spending changes over time. This chart here, shows an increase in your level of spending, but the different colors represent different things. Taxes are in the blue. They're not going up at the same rate of your overall expenses. In fact, your tax brackets may go down in income in retirement, but your spending on basic living expenses may also go down as your activities decrease, but your spending on healthcare in the gray band here may go up quite a bit. So the composition of your spending, how long you need your assets to support your spending, and how much spending you need to support on an annual basis, all varies by individual and case by case. So you'll need to plan accordingly. I'm not here to do your retirement planning, but I do have an incredibly effective asset that fills gaps or creates stable income that you can use in your planning. And by gaps, I mean something like this. This is a chart that gives a nice bright color to a shortfall, to a planning gap, where if you have a 401k or other qualified funds, or even non-qualified funds like regular savings that produce an income stream, perhaps you have a pension as well, you have Social Security, but you have an income level that's above what those things produce, that is a gap, as shown in the red here. Most people target 80 to 100% of their pre-retirement income to maintain their lifestyle in retirement, especially in those first few years. But it doesn't always have to continue. As we saw in that previous slide, the composition of your expenses may change. Some things may take more of your income, some things may take less over time. The assets that we provide are a great way of converting your savings into an income stream that is safe and reliable that you can depend on. So these typical gap-filling income streams can look like this. And a typical client just came in a couple of weeks ago, and he did his homework, and he had some savings, and his wife had some savings, and they both had IRAs, and he opted to buy these two payment streams in their two different IRAs, one in his and one in hers. And these are great illustrations of gap filling and supplemental income cases. Not long, not overly expensive, but at 5.6 to 6% yield, these were 1.5% higher than anything else you could find in the market. So they saved probably $20,000 on this roughly $200,000, $195,000 investment between the two of them. So a pretty significant savings to generate for them a combined, looks like about $1,500 a month into their IRAs. This is your typical income gap filling supplemental case. Now, a lot of my customers don't have specific shortfalls like we saw in that gap filling slide. They may have plenty of assets, plenty of income, pension, Social Security, whatever, but they want to just have more guaranteed income, or they want to find a safe way to convert their assets into income. Now, when I say income, it doesn't necessarily have to be just income, monthly payment sorts of income. It can be lump sums, which are a really safe way of converting assets into future output, which you can then reinvest in the future or distribute if it's coming out of an IRA. We get a lot of different options with these guaranteed payment streams. Let's take a look for a client that didn't have a specific income need. They just wanted to make their assets last a long time and put a safe investment in place. We'll look at Glenn and his wife and their combined portfolio. Great little portfolio of assets. They've acquired 6 cases over the course of 4 or 5 years, and it's a little bit hard to show on slides. I'll show you the slides and then I'll go to the actual illustration. They have 6 cases, and they just recently added some deferred income to take advantage of today's excellent rates. These are the cases that they have. It may be hard to see on this slide, but you can see, perhaps we can zoom in on this section over here and see how they've created a ladder, this stair-stepped increasing income over the time. We're here in 24, and they bought cases over many years. So we're here in this row in 24, and they've got 106,000 of guaranteed income coming in this year alone. Increases 118, 187,000 in 2028, stepping up to 250,000 in 2030, and 235,000 in 2032. Just a really nice portfolio of assets that they can rely on over time. Let me show it in a few slides. Again, the slide may be hard to see, so we'll look at it in a PDF format here. This particular portfolio has a wide range of cases: Hancock, Pacific, Prudential, Met, Bright House, Symetra. Just a lot of carrier diversity, highly efficient income streams, including the most recent acquisition here at the bottom at a great 7% yield they picked up for a deferred income case. This is a great example of an income later case, 84 months of almost $6,000 a month in 2037 with a 3% increase. So letter F, that's this column here, on an annual basis, that's kicking out 70, 72, 74, 77, even $84,000 a year out in its final years in 2043. So this is a really good example of some income later assets accumulated over time, building out a portfolio that makes this lovely increasing stair step of income that pays out over time with a great cumulative payout. I believe the first page shows a total of about $2.3 million in cost and $4.5 million, $4.5 million in total payout over time. So this is a lovely example of a portfolio of income later type assets. Another case study here for a situation that frankly I run into quite often. A lot of times people are presented only with lifetime income type annuities, and they like the idea of safety, they like the idea of guarantees, but they don't necessarily need lifetime income. For this particular client, R&D, the family they've got over 30 policies, different contracts acquired over about 15 years. They were buying these before I even entered this business. They own individually in trusts and in IRAs, and now their kids are buying as well in her own IRA. So this is a situation where there was a heart transplant 5 years ago and some real health concerns, and through all that he just kept on buying long-term income. They love the stability of having income. They have significant assets. They don't need to buy lifetime tied to a lifetime income, because with a heart condition they didn't know if he'd live long. They have more than enough to live on, and they like the safety, so they just kept on buying. They spend a small percentage of their income from these contracts and continually reinvest. So there's a lot to work with. Their portfolio spans a lot of cases. I've selected as many as I can for this video, but you can see it goes way out in 2061 with payment streams going out that far. Both the principals will not be alive at that time, but this is really legacy planning at work. And along the way, the totals are 150, 200, 150 to $165,000 a year right now, just for the cases that I have selected here. They have more than my illustration tools are able to show on a single document. But again, great carrier diversity. Yields are great from early years, not as good in the 2019-20 range when that's probably when this one was acquired at 3.8 or 3.3 yield, but that's just the world we were in at that time. Now we're back up into the high sixes for those deferred income cases, And so the average yield over time, this is what I've been able to select for this client, is 2.1 million worth of assets and 4.4 of payout. There's more, but we only can just illustrate so many cases before it gets to be too much. Again, you can see this laddered income. Hopefully you can zoom in and get a sense of how these different income streams layer together to create income. This is on an annual basis, and we're in 24 now. There's 119,000 coming in this year from the ones that we've selected, and increasing over time, 140, 145, 48, 51. So they just keep on adding to it over time. There's a great, zoomed in, this might show a nice colorful illustration of the variety of different cases that comprise their income. So there's a lot of safety in diversity here. Switching on to a couple of other quick illustrations of this lifetime income concept. I don't have a PDF of this particular client, but Carl was in his 70s with a wife in her 40s and a child who was still a teenager. And so they had this wide variety of ages, which made it impossible for him to buy lifetime income on a joint life basis. On his, it wouldn't pay out long enough, and for her, it was paying out so long that the rate of return was terrible. So he used period certain payments in his IRA, having to balance his RMDs and her inherited RMD requirements, and potentially even their child's inherited IRA. It was an interesting planning scenario, but again, one where lifetime income options just didn't satisfy the client's needs. Another age and health related one is my client Dan. Again, one of my older clients, been buying since 2011. Dan owned, at the time, he just didn't need more than about 15 years of income. Wasn't concerned after that, had other assets, but also just didn't think he was going to live that long. We'll look at his portfolio here, and there's a couple of small cases in the 6% yield, and then a particularly large one acquired at a time when yields were a little lower. I think that was about 2017. But again, about 700,000 of total investment, 730, and 1.5 million of total payout. Just a lovely staggered stream, concentrated in the next 10 years of payout. Here we are in 24, with his 132 coming in this year, 135 next, 139 the year after. So again, you can see how these layer together and how they create income in the years that you want them to come in. And this was Dan's payments that we just saw on the PDF. So there are a variety of reasons. We just looked at supplemental and retirement income, these great income now and some income later cases. But I wanted to highlight for a second that our payments are available to customers of any age. It doesn't have to be someone in their 60s or 70s. I have two younger clients here, both in their 40s. Actually, Brett's in his 40s and Aaron in his late 30s. Young children, and been buying at this time, converting some assets into a stable long-term yield, buying in the 6 to 7% range, both of these fellows. They've assembled some fabulous payment streams. We'll look at Brett's little group of payments here. Just wonderful assets acquired over time that have some excellent yields, and 6.5, 7, 6.2, 6.25, long income streams, especially some deferred start. Just targeting a age 50, I want to be done with income, so I want my income to start in 2030 and carry on from there. So zooming in on this screen, you can see in 2030 we've got 90,000 coming in for him that year, and of course 150 the year before. He's picked up quite a few good payment streams. 270,000 in year 2031, 200, a huge income pop here, 700,000 in this 1 year from one of the lump sum cases. Just a lot of layered income streams. $2 million coming in this particular year. Just a great distributed pool of income for future payouts. Look at that, 12 million coming out on 3.8 million in. This is a particularly strong and long-term payment stream or series of payments in this portfolio going out to 2060. But if you like that, this is Aaron in his 30s with payments going out to 2068 at a 7% yield, just a fabulous long-term. So far we're at 290 in with 1.5 out over the course of time. Just set and forget money that he's taking off the table now and planning for some college funding and some retirement income way out years into the future. So these are again examples of how to use these income streams for different planning situations and different for people of different ages. We looked also at some other portfolios and case studies. I find a lot of situations where folks want to create an income for a dependent, either a dependent child or a wife that may not, and a wife or a, let me redo that. Another situation that we run into are private pensions, and we have a couple of illustrations here from Brent and Jeff who have income streams that they're setting up for wives in this situation. So for their spouses, they wanted to have income that was guaranteed, that they didn't have to think about when these fellows passed away. I mentioned Jeff earlier that he was just continuing to buy. There's 42 separate cases acquired over 10 plus years, and I have no way of illustrating that many, but we have some spreadsheets for him that wouldn't fit on the screen, but they're all positions that are small, under 50,000 a piece, and create lump sums, a lump sum income that just comes in over the course of time. And periodically he'll identify new years or series of years, 2030 through 34, where he wants to layer on more income, and we just continue to fill those orders. Brent as well has cases for a number of years that support him and his wife. And look at his illustration here. Acquired over a number of years, some of them in the 6% range, some of them a little bit lower yield in earlier years. 2018 and 17 had lower yields, but overall still a fabulous portfolio of income. And this is a relatively shorter 2045, so going out another 20 years total, but income in the $100,000 range in a few years, $68,000 this year. And again, this was a deferred income situation. He started buying in 2017 with payments that started in 21, another one that started in 23, and so on. And we're really getting into the salad years here in 25, 26, with 105,000 a year, 111 in 2029. Again, carrier diversity and growing income over time from different assets. So those are a few of the different kinds of income now and income later scenarios. We also encounter scenarios where folks are trying to make investments for their grandkids, or they're trying to leave a legacy or support a family home or create a private pension. There's a variety of different ways of using those lump sums and those deferred income cases for a variety of situations where you want to know the outcome and you don't want to have any loss to an insurance company for longevity benefits that you might not need. One other scenario to consider, we have a client, Bob, who has quite a few annuities already, and the annuity companies don't want to continue selling to him, I think, from a percentage of assets. They say, wait a minute, you've got an awful lot already in annuities. Well, he started to buy our secondary annuity products to continue building out his portfolio and adding lump sum positions. Obviously, there's no need for income here with assets that are significant, but he likes the yield, likes the safety, likes the credit quality of these assets, and he's just building out layers and layers of long-term income streams. Portfolios can look, I've shown you quite a few long ones. I'll show you one more portfolio that was very much straight up the middle when it came in. This gentleman, John, wanted a little over $100,000 a year. He came in initially wanting $100,000 a year, and at the time it was going to cost about $1.4 million. and he wired within a month. He wired all that money into an escrow account, and we drew from the account to satisfy his order over a couple of months as we acquired cases. Partway through, he said, "I like this," and he added another $500,000 to the order. So we came in with a total of $1,600,000 of investment. And this was at a time when the yields were a little bit lower. He had a 4.43 yield. Today, this yield would be probably 4.5. It'd be probably about 5.5, maybe 5.75 in total yield. But again, you can see this one was concentrated to start right away. 2018 is when we started doing this, and by 2020 he had his 100,000 a year. Currently, he's getting about 121 a year in this year, 2024, and it carries on just like that as expected through 2035, and then it starts to taper off as the income streams wear off. This one was another excellent portfolio with great carrier diversity, a little bit more MetLife than. But as I showed in one of the first videos, MetLife tends to make up a large component of our of the assets that we have. So that's still an A+ rated carrier, nothing to go shake your head at. So we've seen what portfolios of income streams look like, and we just looked at John's portfolio of 20 years of income. There are a couple of other oddball situations that I'll just point out for folks looking at this video thinking, well, I don't need this or I don't need that. You might need some of these. Capital needs is one thing. HOAs, homeowners associations, or family properties that may have long-term maintenance needs. I know of some folks who have property that had a trust, and the trust was invested in the market, and the market investments were designed to support the property that the family used over many years. Well, if the trust didn't perform, the property didn't get maintained. It got to be a point where the property was too much for the individuals in the family to maintain. The trust had burned up its assets, overspent its assets, and using guaranteed income, you could eliminate that problem and eliminate your trustee fees and your management expenses and everything. Just create an endowment for your property, or for HOA, for homeowners associations that have capital needs like a roof replacement, things like that. We've used these assets for HOAs as well. Educational savings funds are a big one, where people are trying to put money away for college, or grandpa wants to fund a granddaughter's education. He can buy payments that mature in her own name, either for college or after college, help her pay off loans. We've seen both of those sorts of situations. And as I mentioned, guaranteed funding assets for trusts, not just trusts that hold property, but trusts that can be settlements or child support or special needs. There are a wide range of using guaranteed assets to support future spending needs. The thing to think about is, what are your goals? What are your needs? What kind of assets do you need? What kind of outcomes do you need to ensure? And this really takes a little bit of introspection, thinking about what you need to have done and how you want your money to work for you. But we just touched on what the solutions look like when you put together multiple payment streams into portfolios or into a blended pool. If you wanted $6,000 a month for 25 years, that's not going to come from one particular case. It might come from 3 or 4 cases, kind of like what I showed in one of those previous combined illustrations. Once you have a good, clear idea of your goals, we can start to fill in assets that achieve your goals. That's really what the purchase process looks like. And we're going to get into that purchase process in the next video, just how you select cases. You've seen this slide before if you've watched the other videos. These are definitely not for everyone. They are higher yield alternative assets, and they're great for people comfortable making their own decisions and buying from available inventory, but they're not new issued annuities. They're not a particularly well-known product because the market is relatively small, only about $1 billion a year, and major Wall Street firms buy and securitize these into bond offerings. Some of those firms, there's also a large firm named J.G. Wentworth you've probably heard about that buy these payment streams and sell them to institutional investors and directly back to insurance companies themselves. So hoping you do your due diligence, you ask questions, reach out to me, anything you need information on, read some paperwork. But the assets may be for you if you like any of the benefits that they offer. The higher yield, fixed income, the period certain financial outcomes. And they're a great alternative to other bonds, to other alternatives like bonds and annuities. They help lower risk through sequence of return or market volatility. And in many cases, you'll have more stability and more overall financial output with your income. So in this next video, we're going to look at how customers choose different payment streams. And so that's going to look at some of the documentation on our website, the terminology, understanding the rates of return, checking things for yourself with a calculator. And I'll also touch on what I hope to be all of your questions, your what ifs, your frequently asked questions, and the what if fill in the blank bad thing happens. I've encountered a lot of questions over time, and I hope I hit all the answers in that next video. So thanks for watching. Again, this is DCF Exchange. We're a buyer of payment streams and distribute through nationwide network of advisors. Our inventory is in stock and our purchase process simplified and streamlined for buyers with both IRAs and non-qualified funds. Over the years, I've helped over 832 customers with almost 2,100 files sold and $433 million in future payments with no customer ever losing a penny. So I look forward to working with you. I hope a few of these case studies and portfolio illustrations have your wheels churning and that you can start to see how to use these assets with your clients. These are amazing assets, and we really have some amazing success stories that I hope will help you demonstrate the value for your clients. It's really gratifying to be offering your clients a solution that is guaranteed, that is higher yield, and it's just going to help them. It's hard to even call it selling when you know it's the right thing for them and they know it's the right thing for themselves. That's what great sales is all about, demonstrating the need and showing the benefits to the point that the client makes their own decision to acquire the product that you're offering them. So stay away from hard sell tactics and fear-based selling that you see so many other FMOs and annuities using. I'm not going to bash any particular product, but I just want to point out that not everybody needs lifetime income. And they don't really want to be browbeaten into a what if you run out of money based sales approach. We offer a great option that is safe and it gives a great rate of return. So in the next video, we're going to look at how to choose payments and what some of the tools are that we have on the website. We'll also go over the FAQs and the what if questions that new advisors and their clients have when they first get into this marketplace. So we'll see you on the next video. So to get started, contact your advisor today, and we look forward to working with you.